Okay, these directions tell us to solve by factoring, actually. Solve the quadratic equation by factoring. So to do that, we're going to get it into standard form. We're going to get all the terms on one side. So let's move everything to the left. To move the variable term here, we're going to add 7a. I actually have an a term over here. So I'm going to add it to the like term right there. I'm also going to, that's going to make 0 here. I'm also going to subtract 3 and make 0 there. I don't have a term over here, so I'm just going to write it, sneak it in there. Okay, I don't have a constant term, that's what I was trying to say. 15a squared, 7 and negative 3, that's positive 4a, and then my constant term was just minus 3. So I had nothing left on the right side here, so just 0. Alright, so now I'm going to factor. Unfortunately, I don't have a common factor, a greatest common factor. I only have 5 and 3 here. 3 does not go into 4. So I'm going to use my little trick here. 15 times 3 is 45. So I'm going to go to my y equals key. I've shown you this before. Obviously, I just used it to do the same thing. So I'm going to change this to 45. So 15 times 3 was 15 times negative 3 actually was 45. So I know it's got to be negative. That's going to mean something here. I'm going to find the factors. I'm going to go my table. You can't divide by 0, so I get an error message, but 1 times 45, 2 does not work because I get a decimal for y. 3 times 15, 4 does not work. 5 times 9. Okay, so let's look back here to see what we're looking for. Remember, I'm going to do this by factoring, by grouping. I'm going to split this up. I'm going to write the first term, I write the last term, equals 0, and I'm going to take my middle term and separate it into 2 terms. So I want their product to be 45, and I want their sum to be 4. They multiply to be a negative, so that means one of them will be positive, one will be negative. If the signs are different, their difference is 4. So let's look back here again. And actually, I see it right now. It's already sitting on it. 5 and 9. Okay, 5 times 9 is 45, and their difference is 4. So since the middle term is positive, the bigger one had to be positive. So 9a and 5a. Alright, 9 times 5 was 45, and 9 and negative 5 equal positive 4. Okay, now it's easy. I like factor by grouping. Find a common factor. I can divide them both by 3a. Whoops. Oh well. We switched colors here. 3a times 5a will give me 15a squared. And 3a times 3. Okay, now I'm going to group these two together. I can factor out, I'm going to need to factor out a negative because look, I want these to be the same. And so I'm going to take out a negative, and I'm taking out a negative 1. I don't have to write the 1, but it helps it make more sense when I do the next step. So that would leave me with 5a, negative 1 times 5a is negative 5a, and negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3. Okay, so now I'm going to factor out of these two terms, I'm going to factor out that binomial. Remember, I now have a product and a product, so I'm using the distributive property backwards. I'm taking out the 5a plus 3, and it's going to leave me with this times 3a and this times negative 1. Okay, so now my last step to solve here is I know that one of these has to equal 0. If this times this is 0, that means that either 5a plus 3 equals 0 or 3a minus 1 equals 0. So over here I'm going to use my subtraction property of equality to solve. That's going to give me 5a equals negative 3. Now I'm going to use my division property of equality. That's going to give me a equals, it's just going to be, I'm going to leave it as a fraction. Okay, and then on this one here, I'm going to add 1. I'm going to use my addition property of equality. Gives me 3a equals 1. This made 0. And then I'm going to use my division property of equality. And this is going to cancel out 1a as a equals, I'm going to leave that as a fraction as well. Okay, so there are my solutions. So I'm going to move these up to the top and I'm going to use my calculator to check them. So my solution set here is negative 3/5, okay, and 1/3. So 1/3. Oops. So I just took these two and I'm now putting them up into a solution set. And I wrote it next to my original problem because I want to check this. So I'm going to store these. I've got to do it 2 times, but this new calculator makes it nice and easy to enter. So negative 3/5 stored into, I'm using a here. Okay, so first I'm going to check this solution, then I'm going to check this solution. So I'm going to enter the left side and I'm going to enter the right side, and they should be the same. I have a's on both sides, so I'm just going to use my calculator to do this. I stored my first solution and I've got 15a squared minus 3a. Find out what the left side equals, and now 3 minus 7a. Find out what the right side equals, and they're equivalent. Okay, so that means that this is a correct solution. Now I'm going to do this one. I'm going to check both my solutions. And let's go up and pull these. 15a minus 3 was the left side. So if I hit enter, it just retypes it for me. It's like copy and paste. Okay, I got 0.6 repeating, and now I'm going to enter the right side, which I can actually go up here. Oh, there it is, 3 minus 7a. Enter, enter. Yep, the two sides were equal, so these were my two solutions.